It's time for a What's Up with Nora. Ooh, hey. What's up with that? Ooh, hey. What's up with Nora? Ooh, hey. What's up with that?
No. Well.
What is up, my friends? Welcome in. Welcome back to the Garage. That's right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are here. I'm queer. We're going to get into it. Today, we're talking with everybody's bestie, the people's Karen, Audit LA. And what I wanted to do today is just bring Audit on up because she and I just spoke on a Zoom with several other people speaking out about Kendrick Moxon and trying to get his, license investigated. This is part of the important, great stuff that's going on. But I felt like, you know what, right now, we need to, as my former supervisor, Sergio, not Serge Gill, but Sergio from Flag used to say, okay, everybody who had a win today, celebrate those wins, celebrate them. And I feel like, you know what, we need to do that. We need to celebrate the good stuff that's going on because there's some great shit happening right now. And without further ado, let me bring on to my stage here in the Garage, the one and only Audit LA. Thank you for being here, Audit. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having me,
everyone. Round of
Nora.
applause. Yes,
It's an
yes. So,
honor.
yes, I love having you
Really.
on Audit. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about what happened to this. What just happened? What did we just do? That's one of the good things. That's one of the good things on the list. What just happened?
We and Laura this morning putting out the word. Hey, there's a
Yeah, she was.
and I love it that she's like I didn't even know about it. So go, Laura. That there's a bar meeting today, and she wanted to get on there and talk about Kendrick Moxon. And thankfully, a group of us came on. We took over. We took over the whole meeting. I think they were
Yeah.
shook because
Well,
I
and
think
I
only
saw
three other
people
people.
taking notes. Like, it wasn't like people were like,
Yes.
oh, here come the people talking about the
Mm-mm.
Scientology. They were like, oh shit, what's his license number?
Yeah,
Boop, 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 boop.
they were shook.
They were
Yeah,
taking some notes.
they were, and Operation Snow White. So we hit boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 and just hit them hard with
Yeah.
facts and with historical context. It's not just okay. Well, he's doing stuff now. We hit
Right.
that, but we went all the way back. That he's been that bad player, really bad. Lawyer shouldn't have had a license for decades at this point.
Correct.
And you were amazing. Like, wow, it's like I'm like, okay, I want
Oh,
to
thank
interview
you.
you about what you like, what you were saying. I'm like, whoa, just so much. And that's why I always say too that when you get the people who like the second gens or anyone that's been on the inside at these meetings talking, it takes it to a whole new level because you have experiences that we don't have, and we could talk about, but it's different than you coming in and said, hey, I know about this personally because this, that, and this.
Yeah, and I think that
So,
whenever we can give corroborating evidence, that is super important. Like, my dad was an unindicted co-conspirator in Operation Snow White. He did steal documents from the California State Capitol. That's facts. He was never named. He was never a suspect. He got a job in the California State Capitol under an assumed name in the mailroom. And then after establishing himself there for a while, he hid out in the women's restroom until the building was closed, and then went into, because he was in the mailroom, he had access to the whole building. Right. So you have to imagine this is back in the 70s where they would just give the mailroom guy a key to like fucking everything. Right. So he had access to everything. So he used his little key, went into the file room, and, but the reason why he hid out in the women's bathroom was because it had a window to the outside. So not only did he stay until the building was locked, then he let other people in. So it
wow.
was a whole thing, right? And he stole a lot of documents from the Capitol there that the FBI later recovered in their raids and things like that. But it's like these are the tiny ripples that we need to connect for law enforcement in order to like go like, shit, this is actually something bad. Like, we need to start looking into this. I mean, none of us got even into Kendrick Moxon's role in the blackmail of IRS agents in the 90s to, you know, fucking get their a tax exempt status, right? That would be a whole other meeting. I mean, if there's another meeting, we'll go and we'll talk about that this time. I think we just have to keep hammering in all these points,
I
and
think
I
you need.
really hope they do investigate him. I mean, minimally, let's get an investigation going.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
I'm.
I think you got a little
But
bit
yeah, it
frozen,
was. I've heard that story. Yeah, I feel frozen.
but I can
Oh, it's
hear you.
cold. I'm frozen. Okay. Well, I had no idea that that was your dad. I've heard that before. That sorry, the story before, and I had no idea that was your dad. So that is
Yeah.
amazing. I think you need to go to the police commission meetings, leading off with that, talking to the OIG, leading off with that,
Oh,
because
sure.
it really does tie him, and just everything that they're doing and they did, that not to dismiss it, we can't just over, we have to keep bringing up the history, because right, because history is the best predictor of where, how people, how you're going to act in the future.
Very
And
true.
so if we can really put their history out there and say they are doing the same thing just differently, instead of hiding in the bathroom and breaking and stealing documents, they're
Right.
doing your CPADs, they're doing your bids, they're infiltrating a different way, because
Right.
I guess they learned from that, but they're still infiltrating, they're still getting that inside knowledge, right? Because if you're in a CPAD, you have the ear, and you have the inside scoop, with the captain, you building that rapport and relationship. So it just looks different, but it's really more the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, their plan now is similar. I mean, we've all seen probably 20 different uh fiction films and TV shows like The Americans, where children are brought up in Russia to learn to be a whole other race of people, a whole other, and then they just insert them into that country and get them into the high level things. They marry people. They're just, they're sleeper agents for years and years. And Scientology has been doing the same thing. They breed people from birth to essentially be a covert spy, right? You learn how to, they call them obnosis drills. You learn how to memorize every single detail. There's one drill that you do when you're a part of their, ecclesiastical, super fanatical wing known as, the Sea Organization, right? In the fake Space Navy, where you go to a storefront and you look at the storefront for 30 seconds, and then you turn around and you have a partner with you and they ask you what's in the window, and so you start naming things, and the first time you do it you'll probably get like 5 or 6 things, and you keep doing that until after 30 seconds you can describe everything that's there, like you remember the details of everything that is there. It's burned into your mind, so that like you can walk around for a whole day observing, listening, right? And you're not busting out a recorder. You're not videotape. You just go and write your report later, and you're like a dictaphone. You are just spitting out exactly what happened, right? And this is what they're doing in, you learn the other thing, tone scale spotting, right? So this is basically you're learning how to cold read people. Right. So you take that stupid scale with the little blobs on it and you ask people questions. And then based on their answers, you're observing where they supposedly live on this scale. But then you learn to match them or go slightly above them where you think they are. So you can manipulate their thoughts and other things, right? You're doing basically a cold read, like any con man is very adept at. And all Scientologists, when you observe their conversational tone and you observe the way that they use language, they are doing that the whole time. It is gaslighting, it is Darvo, it is like all of that in action, right? And you are trained to do that since you are a child, since you can speak and read, right? So that's the diabolicalness of it, and that's the things that we have to reveal because it is that insidious. They're scary in the way they do that. Just watch every Tom Cruise interview from the time he got into Scientology forward. He's doing that every single time, right? And it's pretty easy for him because most people are very enthusiastic to meet him. They're like, "Oh my god, I love you," so like he
Yeah.
doesn't have, but just go look at the interview that he did on the Today Show, where that guy asked him about why are you picking on, Why are you against, got into the silent birth or whatever, I can't remember, the Matt Lauer interview, and you see him go into combat mode. That is where you see the pinnacle of Scientology training, that particular interview with Tom Cruise, 100%.
And see, that sounds like, I know when I was an investigator and we had training kind of not like that in depth, but right, closing your eyes, remembering what you saw, because it
Right.
became, details become very important, because
Yeah.
when you're doing an investigation, two people, two witnesses will see the same event and have different, very different
Oh,
descriptions of
totally.
what they
Yeah.
saw. And so there's a level of, okay, that's important. Also, to get kind of, you're an investigator, a cop, whatever you're going to be, you know, in that the field, yes, you need to learn how to read people. But when you take
Yeah.
it to the level of insanity, you know, to a level where, like that, what you're talking about, that is very, that sounds like CIA level. I don't know.
Oh,
That
yeah.
sounds really kind of
No,
scary.
100%. I mean, it's not just reading people, it's manipulating people. There's one thing to be able to, like,
Yes.
I mean, maybe this was just a hobby when I was a kid in the 80s, but we would like go sit in the mall and just like drink your orange Julius and like make up stories about all the people walking by, because you would just be able to
Yes.
tell what they were like from their outfit, from their walk, like their haircut. You just know, right?
Yes.
The
We all
people,
did
we
that.
call that
Yep.
people watching,
Yes.
right? I don't think people do that as a I mean, maybe they do that on the internet and that's where all the weird comments come from. That's like modern day people watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, we used to be able to like instantly, like, you know, this person's married, they have 2 kids, they have a dog, they got blah, 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 blah. And you would know within 5 seconds of looking and listening, like their half their life story, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like you just, and you were not 90% of the time, you're right, you're just like, fuck, how do you know all, it's like after all of that you learn and you can approach the person. It's also sales, right? Salespeople are also taught the same thing, to just like boom, they're figuring out what kind of person they're talking to and how they appeal to that person within 2 minutes, right? And if they don't,
Yeah.
the sale's dead. It's over. You're not gonna, you know, you got no commission, you're done, right?
True.
But Scientology weaponizes that into mass manipulation and brainwashing, which is what makes it so dangerous. You know, we can joke about it, but it is, that's where that comes from. You know, and so you've been doing tremendous progress um, in basically revealing that to the city council, to the police commission, with your constant testimony. I also wanted to like give kudos and shout out to everybody who's been participating in that recently. I mean,
Yes.
you know the list far better than I do. Why don't you shout them out? Give
That's
them,
good.
yeah.
All right. And if, I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. So, but well, there's you, Nora. You
Oh,
call in. All right.
okay.
Kudos to
Not that
you.
much. I need to do it more, but yeah.
Yes, you do, because we need all
Yeah.
this info. Um, and you know, Laura, you know, another
Yes.
one, and she's just getting stronger and stronger. She blew me away today. I'm like, wow, you know,
Yeah.
like, because you get, as you do it, at first it seems scary and intimidating, but then as you do it, you just own it. She's owning it, and it's like
Yeah.
you go, you know, like, there's Mona. She started
Of
with me. Like I
course.
said, come on, I'm not doing this all by myself. Come on, you know. So you know, so Mona, Ganja. Ganja's
Yep.
always there. Amy, and with her, you
Yes.
know, bye, which I love. And then there's Miriam, we
Yes.
call Muriel, and sometimes, and there's Antics of a Mama Squirrel. There's Let's Go Carla. There's uh Lurker.
Hmm.
There's Henry. There's, I know I'm like, I can't see chat, so I don't chat, like, am I missing anyone?
Not so
Um
far, no.
I'm trying to think. There's probably more too that have called, and forgive me if I'm missing anyone. But and then sometimes the gadflies chime in, you know, like Shirt Guy or the others will chime, you know, speak
Yeah.
up. And I can't think. And sometimes at the police commission, you know, streets will speak up. And
Absolutely, yeah. Oh,
I feel like
haggis as well. Ganja says
Haggis. Oh my gosh,
haggis.
see, I did forget someone. Haggis.
And
She's
Gina and Auntie M.
Gina. Yeah, and yeah, Auntie. Well, today I didn't know who that was, and so that was you know, so yeah, so the
And
calling did
YRB.
great.
Where
Why?
everyone's
Yes, Yvonne.
yes,
There, I don't forget
YRB,
him.
yes.
Yep. Yvonne, and I love Yvonne what she does, because I miss her. I want her to come back. I kind of told her yesterday, because she's like an engineer. She has an engineering
Oh,
mind degree,
wow.
whatever. So at Public Works, she was able whenever because they try to challenge you with being off topic and all that stuff. And she was like the one person, she reads the entire file because they give you a file that you can read through for what all the agendas items
Oh,
are.
wow.
And so they try to call our files because oh no, on page like 800 of 952 pages, it says this. I'm not off topic, Madam Attorney. And so, it's, so
Nice
it was
try.
hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice try. So it's like, because that's the game, and that's where I think people get intimidated. So like everyone call in, it feels intimidating because you have the city attorney who's going to be like, "Oh, you're
Oh,
off
sure.
topic," or and but that to me that's fun. Like for me, it's just a challenge, and I love it when they do it because then you can push back on that too because
Yeah.
there's like, okay, you're off topic. Oh, like well, I'm doing a comparison because they're like, this is not about Scientology, this topic. And I'm like, well, I'm making a comparison to what you're talking about what I see here. How you blow it over here with Scientology, you're going to probably blow it here. And I'm giving you a warning and a
Yeah.
comparison. So you can always push back, and that's half the fun is like when you because everyone like right they're calling in as with the public comment,
Yeah.
but I want to challenge people to try just even have fun even once in a while, just try to link because I call it backdoor public comment
Oh,
extending
sure. I mean,
because you get to
they put
connect
enough
it.
writers on this bullshit. Uh-oh, where did it go? Her picture went
Oops,
away. Oh, she's back.
am I here? Okay,
Yeah, no, you're
yeah,
here. They put enough writers on these things that have nothing to do. They're like, this is the proposal to put doors in City Hall. And then there's like 80 things on there that have nothing to do with that, right? Like, give me a
right.
break.
And you can pick that and say, well, you guys blow it when Scientology puts their new doors on because we've called in, complaints about how they're not getting getting everything checked or whatever, and so you blow it there, so you're probably going
Yeah.
to blow it here. So there's always that's the fun for me. It's more like a challenge, and it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's like, I mean, if you're talking about the city of LA, you're talking about LA County, you're talking about Scientology because they are the biggest presence in all of Los Angeles County and they pay no taxes. They don't
I know,
contribute.
and
They
have
just
lots of
get shit
properties.
from the city. Okay. So it's relevant. It's relevant to their bottom line. It's relevant to the usage of all of Los Angeles. You know what I mean? So it's not something that isn't pertinent, and there's been, I will say this in the past few months, what I've noticed, especially leading up to and you getting the permit, like, because if we rewind the clock, about a year ago, I'm going to say is about a year ago, Jessica Palmadessa tried to get a permit for the street. That was like when they
Hmm.
first started. We're just going to shut the fucking whole street down for the whole summer. Fuck you guys. You can't come here. Right. And so Jessica was like, oh, okay, we too can play at that game. I'm going to get a permit. And she was so summarily shut down by the city. And I think that was because at the time she wasn't like a full resident or something, like her residence. What was the problem with Jessica getting the permit? What happened then?
Well, there's a couple. There was a couple elements, and it's funny.
Mm.
The city just resent all that stuff to me today, which is hilarious. But okay, there's a couple elements, and why we couldn't get the street permit, the special events permit, like they get to shut the street down.
Right.
Is first of all, you either have to have real estate on that location or
Mm.
be sponsored by somebody who has real estate, because they have
Okay.
standing to do that. And you had to have 51% like approval. So we
From
we
the
know that
residents on
Scientology can
that
get
street.
that. Yeah, so right for that
Mm.
block, wherever they're shutting down, if they hear like they have to have signatures or and I
Is
question
it
whether or not they're
possible to
even
use
doing it.
Kaiser as a sponsor because they have
Yes,
a building there? Can we do that? Can we talk to Kaiser
we
and be
could
like, we'd like
try.
to, can we do like just literally like, hey, we'd like to hold an event for you. We're going to take care of the whole event and we're going to talk about healthcare and we're going to try and we'll get people signed up for Kaiser. Like
We could try.
it's a private health insurance. I mean, I have it because, it's like through work, but like, can we get like Kaiser to sponsor a fucking membership drive on the street? I
It
just thought of
doesn't
that
hurt to
just now.
try because
Let's
they do
do it.
have property right at the very
They
end
do.
of L.
Yeah.
Ron Hubbard is
Yeah.
Kaiser, and then across the street on Sunset. I love that idea, and I am all 100% down
Let's
for
do
that.
it,
Like,
guys.
let's
Fuck
do
that.
it,
Yeah.
guys.
But see, that's interesting to know. So that's why when you got the permit, you got it for the sidewalks, which are public. They are not
Well, the
like
street's public too. I'll
what.
continue. So what
Yes,
happened
we know,
is,
and we're trying to push them to put the things back and allow
yes,
parking and other stuff. So we're working
yes,
on that. But yes, but
we're
is that why it
reclaiming
was
our street.
right?
So
Is
what
that why
happened
it
with
was easier to get the
Jessica?
sidewalks instead of the whole street? Or
Well, well, what happened was, see, I could jump ahead.
yeah.
And with us, what we learned from with Jessica, but also I want to say one more thing about
Oh yeah,
Jessica's.
no, go carry on. Sorry, I interrupted.
Okay, so they told her, I guess, that you don't qualify for this, so
Right.
you go for the First Amendment one, which is what we
Okay.
had, which is
Yeah.
through the police commission. But there were some
Ah.
shenanigans there, and I have the emails where the one officer said that when they were trying to evaluate her
Right.
thing, I don't even think it went to the commission all the way. They squashed it because they said, "Oh, she's requesting to have cars parked on, L. Ron Hubbard Way. That's
Sure.
not a protesting. That's just cars parking." So they didn't even look further to see if that was just an element. Like they just used it. So, oh, it doesn't even rise to the level of a First Amendment protest, so we can squash this right here.
So
I have
they
those
just used a
emails.
loophole to be like, no soup for you. Okay.
Yep, yeah. I
Typical.
used to go to that place,
Typical.
by the way. I used to go to that place
No
when I was
soup
in
for you.
college. Yes, and that guy was real. He wasn't that bad, but I used to go there. But I used to live, yeah, in Hell's Kitchen. But
That's awesome.
so anyway, so what happened with us is that Gina started the process because I've been saying for a long time ever since, and it's always been something that's stuck in my craw. And so she's like, it's time. I'm just doing it, and she just took
Yeah.
the bull by the horns. They did the same thing with her. No, you can't do this. It has to be the police, and they
Mm,
squelched that one too. Well, you don't live here. You don't have any standing, so they dismissed her right
right.
away. And so she's like, and Gina's, a force to be reckoned with. She's not going to stop. She's like, well, what if I put somebody local? And so she asked me to do it. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And even though you have to put it, and I don't care at this point anymore, whatever, you have to put it in your real name. It's like, not that LAPD, I'm certain they know who I am, but whatever. And so I did it, and the guy was like, he was trying to kind of like he wanted to shut it down, but I'm like,
mm,
look, you know me. I said I come to the police commission meetings every week. We have
right.
talked. You and I have had conversations. So and so he calmed down a little bit. He let me really explain. I
Mm-hmm.
said that I said we just need it. He tried to he did shorten the hours. He wanted it short. He wanted it till 6. I said, come on, give us till 10. Like come on, because we were originally going to do midnight. And so little by little, he's like, okay, I'm approving this. So we got past
Yeah.
level 1. He said okay, and then it had to go through to the actual commission,
Right.
and they could have come back with like changes, complaints, whatever. But what have we been doing for this past year, right? We go in, we friendly, we're talking truth, and we're holding the truth up to them and saying
Yeah.
do better, but we're also doing it respectfully, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm saying whatever a lot today. I'm catching myself, but it's whatever. But anyway, so we passed. They signed off on it.
yeah.
And I really truly believe it's because and they're kind of getting there's a change with them too, because Earl Southers was invited to come to Big Blue, and you can see the emails where
Who's
he's like
that? Earl.
politely,
Tell
oh,
us about Earl Southers.
he's the president of the police commission, and they had the old president in their pocket. You could see by the old behaviors that when Jessica went, the
Mm,
old president was very much a friendly friend of Scientology, so they would always go to him. But now he's gone, they have a new president, and they're trying to say point him. But we've been coming to these meetings, and he's
yeah.
like, no, thank you. Like he tells the secretary, they just get me out of this. It's like, type of thing. So they're not safe pointed anymore, and so they gave us the permit to. And the reason why it's sidewalks only, it's not that the street's not public, but but to close a street requires a Bureau of Street Services permit, and
Oh, okay.
that's you need those hurdles that we could not overcome at that
In the
time.
time
Maybe
period
we
that you
will.
guys had, or
No,
is
at
that
all, because we don't have standing. We don't have sponsor. We don't have because to do a bureau, see the one that they do, to be able to close a street has to go through Bureau of Street Services.
So that's
And
where
that
getting
is,
like Kaiser as a sponsor would be
yes,
beneficial because then you could do the whole thing.
yes, yes.
Okay.
If we could get, and if that would count, and we could get a sponsor and get 51% of people, so I don't, they have to sign off on it. So if we can overcome that hurdle,
Hmm.
then yes, I think we could. I'm willing to do it because I think it'd be great. And but it's, for me, it shows that building this rapport and doing that, I see changes too. Like last year we went to the civil grand jury, and I thought because it didn't end up in the report about them fixing the permit situation, that meant they didn't tackle it. But Yvonne said, no, they still may have tackled it, but not everything rises. Like if they kind of fix it right then and there doesn't really need to be a report. But that coupled with all of our hard work of calling in relentlessly, mind you, in over a year now, I've only missed, I think, 2 public works meetings in
Yeah.
a year,
That's a lot
and
of
they're like 3
meetings,
times
y'all.
a week. So,
Yeah, that's a lot.
and that's
That's
just,
I don't even think all the committee members on these meetings have attended as many meetings as you've attended. So,
I don't think so.
like
I don't think
at
so.
this point they
You know,
should be cutting you a check. Like you're
yeah,
showing up more than the people that are being paid by the city of Los Angeles to give a shit. So, let's
that's
talk
true.
about right? Let's talk about this coming year. There are some actions that are coming up. We've got them here. Um
Well, this is
this
for the
is
new civil grand jury.
right.
This is the project I've been working on for a long time. It's finally culminated, finally finished, finally on their desk.
Yes.
Because a civil grand jury, what they do is they oversee the processes of the city and county government. So basically, I have 11. There's 11 total. This is, I couldn't print, I don't have it all
This is
printed
number
out.
10 that I have up on the screen right now.
Yeah, because this is the one I'm going to be focused on this year. Number 11, I'm also going to, I think a lot of people can focus on. And so we're asking the civilian grand jury to go in for all 11 points and see where the city is failing, if and county, if they are, and to make corrections. And that's probably what may have happened with the permits. Because now, if you notice, last year by now, they had for months on end endless street closure permits.
Yeah,
Now they don't. They only had Easter. I know they're doing the 4th of July, but it's not for
of
the whole
course.
week or the weekend. It's only for like not even as many hours as we had it for. So
Yeah.
it's improving. And so we're hoping that by getting this in, that they will take this up as well. And then we can get more, but so what
And where
I'm
is this
focusing on,
evidence being presented? Where can other
yeah,
people
this is
contribute
me.
to chiming in on this?
Well, no, this is, so what happens. Anyone can file a complaint with the civilian grand jury. You're asking to look into these things. So I wrote up 11 different things that I want them to look at. So number 10 is just this went to the civilian grand jury. They're going to read this and they're going to go through it. And I put
Hmm.
what laws are applicable, what we're looking at, because it can't be from the Scientology so much centric. It has to be where the city is failing. And so the argument is that Scientology is claiming religious exemption, right? For why they don't have a proper, that they don't do wages. And my
Correct.
contention, basically, my nutshell contention is, well, okay, there may be some jobs within Scientology that would qualify for that. Volunteer minister, they go out and minister to people in crisis. Okay, I could see that
Hmm.
being a volunteer position. But what does building sets for a July 4th celebration and building, working on the street, what does that have to do? How's that a religious experience? That's not. These are jobs that would be done by tradespeople, union tradespeople for a good rate, and they are bypassing that system based on, oh, well, it's a religious exemption. And my declaration is that no, it is not a religious exemption. They are
Correct.
right. So the city and the county is allowing slave labor. It is not religious, and they need to look at this and adjust it. So I am going to be on because there is laws within the city of LA against slavery and forced labor, even when it comes to religion, so they
Yeah.
acknowledge that there's no chain gangs, nothing. So the city and county is going against their own laws by overlooking this. And I'm hitting this hard with public works, and thankfully, on Public Works, my favorite person on there is Commissioner Grant. and he was a union president. He's retired. He's doing this. So I just appeal to him every time. I feel he's very listens to us. I feel he's getting it. But there's only they can't just go and do like it's strange. They can't even talk about it with each other. Like
Mm-hmm.
the public works commissions, they can't discuss any of this stuff because you're otherwise they're breaking quorum. And so there's just all these weird rules. But I think he's hearing. I think they are hearing when it comes to this is slave labor. This is not it's not a religious experience to build a soundstage to recruit people to Scientology on for 4th of July. It's just not.
No, I agree.
And
That
they
is
need to
not a
pay them.
religious experience for anybody. I'm just scrolling through the document. Are these publicly available or
No, this is something that I submitted. No, and
okay.
the civil grand jury is secretive. Like I don't know, they probably wouldn't be happy that I'm. So I submitted these. I mean I'm willing to give you all 11 so you can really look at it and dig through it, and because people can take this, the Clearwater, it may be different, but they can take the wording and match it to the laws in their area.
Yeah,
So this is something I've been working on it for a long time. Finally finished it at the very last minute. Got it shipped there overnight. So I was there right before that because
fantastic.
they start sitting on July 1st. So I was there
Yeah,
like the day before, and hopefully they take it up. They don't have to take everything up that comes before them. They
right.
get to pick and choose. But let's hope that. And I said it's a collective, but I also told them they can take one or any of these points and tackle it. They don't, So I did it separate. That's why I did it separately in different sections.
Yes, and
And
you and
then
Mona did a video about all of these points, all 11 points yesterday, correct?
Well, we did four. We tackled four of
Oh,
them
you did
because
4
I go
points
through.
in there.
Yeah, so we're going to do
Okay.
two more. We're going to do so we did 8 through 11, and then I think
Okay.
we're going to do like 1 through 4, and then 5 through 7, just to break it up a little bit. Because I go
And my
through, I
mods
read it
put a link
all.
to that video. So if you guys want to go watch the breakdown
Perfect.
of 8 through 11 that Mona and Audit did, please go give that a watch, get in a more in-depth view. And if you guys have questions about those or anything, ways you can contribute, definitely contact either Mona or Audit or both of them. And,
Hmm.
let's keep this momentum going on this because it's so important because the way that we tackle this isn't just going out and making yourself known and talking to Scientologists and the protests. It's all part of the same motion, right? Like the protests, the
Yes.
showing up at the meetings, the calling in on Zoom on the meetings, calling your representatives, calling your local government to request investigations because the only way that we win against Scientology is to use every legal recourse that we have and keep telling radical truths about them. Like, and coupled with that, I'm just going to throw this plug out there for my friend Jamie Mustards, whose book is coming out at the end of this month, and he's doing I'm interrupting his interview, but he's doing an interview with Dodge right now, or he was just before we started. Talking about his book and stuff. So all of these things are coming together at a really, in my opinion, a really beautiful moment where this last year and a half of people being inspired to protest, being inspired to speak out and support people like myself who were born into this horrific, monumentally destructive organization, multi-billion-dollar human child trafficking organization that hides under the cloak of religion. That this is part of us reclaiming decency, democracy, and the real freedom of religion because Scientology is a mockery of religion and it makes a mockery of our Constitution by using that to abuse people, and so it's good that people are listening about this because, right now that's just put that on the checklist of things that have to get done, that have to get, spoken out about. But attacking this legally is, in my opinion, probably the best way to go about it because prior to this, there's countless people. On my video that I'm doing Monday, we're going to do a super deep dive into the history of people speaking out and protesting and radical truth telling to today. And it's like people have been telling these things for years. I mean, today we all talked about Operation Snow White and we talked about this thing, but like the OG people who came out and spoke, right? Who went to 60 Minutes, who went to talk to Mike Wallace from CBS News. I'm throwing tons of names out there. A lot of people, young people are like, who's that? He's RIP Mike Wallace. But I'm talking about like the OG newsmen that if Mike Wallace was interviewing somebody, it was like, oh shit, what this guy do? Like you knew it was going to be an in-depth thing, right? And they went directly to those people. They spoke to the nation. They spoke internationally about it. And people were like, oh no, okay. And then they just went on to the next thing. Like it's just never been shut down. And it's time. It's time for everybody to just stop hearing these stories and for nothing to happen. And we're starting to see things start to happen, and that's going to happen in the American justice system. It's going to happen in the courts. We still have the Jane Doe's case pending. We still have Leah's case pending. We still have Valerie Haney's case pending, and we got to keep supporting all of that too. I mean, it's a lot of things at once. So you can pick your lane. You want to go give support to the Jane Doe's, or you want to show up at a Zoom meeting, or you want to go out and protest at your local Scientology org, or you want to call your Senate. Pick one thing. You don't have to do everything because it's a lot. I mean, listen, not everybody's going to be audit. You're not going to show up at every meeting all year. Okay. That's
Right.
amazing.
But then I don't get to, necessarily go protest at Blue all the time,
Right.
just to do, even though it's completely needed and necessary. I do show up because of what my feel for my area of protest is the accountability. So when they have an event, that's when I like to do it because I want to see, are they obeying the law, or they,
Right.
and test those limits, more like auditing. I'm not talking about their, like First Amendment auditing and auditing
Right.
their thing. So I prefer that. And then the meetings. And the meetings are important too, very important, because when you think about it, you go before city council, there's 15 people that make the laws within our
Yeah.
city. You go to the LAPD, they're there to enforce the laws. And you go to Public Works, they're there who, giving permits or saying what they can or can't do. So you're talking to people who can make a difference. And yes, after a while, they're going to know the story, even if it drives them crazy. I don't care. I
Right.
do feel, because with Public Works, at first, the first president, she hated us. She would like get
Oh
so
yeah.
flustered, she would cry. The mayor gave us a whole brand new commission, and now we have even a new commissioner coming because the last president got bumped up to the mayor's office. So I feel that the mayor, in some weird level, as much as there's a lot I don't like what she does, I feel like she's giving us a pretty good public works board, and I feel that
And that's
things are
interesting to me
changing.
because Karen Bass is taking money directly from Scientology. That was
Yeah.
I had a big beef with her even running. And I wanted reporters to ask her about that because she's been at the gala. She's been at the gala at the Celebrity Center, getting a fucking check and shit and doing speeches. So she has definitely been approached by Scientology and, shown the fun things and got to shake hands with John Travolta and all that kind of bullshit, all the things that they do to make you feel like, wow, everything. It's like a Disneyland experience, right? You get the
Yes.
Disneyland special.
Going to the Olympics with Tom Cruise. I mean,
Boom. Exactly. So I feel like the more I don't know her enough to be like, well, she's a reasonable person. She listens. I don't know. But I'm hoping
mm,
that with you showing up every day and the fact that our protest was so peaceful and we were compliant with everything, there was no
yes.
trash. We didn't fucking wreck the place. We did not commit any acts of vandalism. We weren't even like yelling at people. We were just trying to have our voices heard. And they were like, committing sound violations multiple times during the protest while we
Yes.
were just trying to talk, for the thing that we had an amplified voice permit for. Right. So
Mhm.
I think that shows like, oh, hey, maybe there's something to what these protesters are saying, because they were wilding armed security guards for like us that were just like, it was literally like mostly like parents and grandparents that were like, no. And they're like, wow, we gotta arm up for the moms, for the gay moms showing up, watch out for the
Mm.
lesbian, like, what the
Right, the
fuck?
lady in the chair,
Right?
like
The
she might
lady
run
in the
over our
mobility
toes.
access
Right.
scooter, watch out. She's gonna go crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? It was so wild. But let me we got some questions and comments in here. Let me get that.
All right. And then I
Uh,
want to add a quick
oh,
story
go
to
for it. Go
that.
for it.
Rumor I heard that, well, I heard that she did replace that board because like we are coming at it so hard, it's making them look bad. And I heard that even the permit part of it was to kind of dangle a carrot to say, okay, like here, we're gonna, like, we're kind of working with you, like, you know, whatever. But, you know, not that you have to stop, but they're looking so bad having us there. They
Oh
don't know
yeah.
how to handle it.
No.
So,
No.
you know,
No, they don't know how to handle it because it's not stopped. It's not, you know, it's not ended, you know, and
right, we're
it's,
being relentless.
well,
It's like,
they don't know. The thing that we want is we want you to do an earnest investigation into all of these points that you've laid out, these 11 points. Okay. We want a full investigation. We want the people that are being held hostage, whose passports and visas are locked up, okay, to be set free. We want you to go in there and look at people's, you know, status in this country because they haven't seen their home country in years, right? And they're being kept here against their will. They will tell you they are under cult control. Oh, everything's great. I love it here. It's my favorite place. Like, you guys do some training. Get some fucking training on high control groups and how to talk to people in a high control group, because you're looking at like the same type of people that were in Jonestown, that were in fucking
yes.
Waco, that, you know, were in the alien, you know, comet spaceship people. I forget the name of those guys who, you know, drank the Kool-Aid and wore all the Nikes because the spaceship was picking them up at the end of the comet. You know, like, this is the same environment. And you got to figure out how to, you know, get those people out of there because it is not safe. They are not being cared for. Go to the hospice house. I'm going to answer your question here, Gen X Biox. Go to the hospice house and see how many identities they have stolen from elderly people and disabled people there. I mean, it's like, pick a fucking lane. The OSHA violations, the fucking fire code violations, pick something. There's a million things to pick from. Please just do
Yes.
something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, yeah, it's totally insane. But let me get to these here. Amy says she called into the bar meeting. Thank you, Amy. And you were thanked also, Amy, for doing, you
She
know,
did
doing
great.
that basically every day. Thank you. And thank you for
Yeah,
putting
she's
it out
always
there.
there. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, maybe one, you know, if she has like something with her daughter or something, but she's just as
Oh,
steadfast,
100%.
hits
100%.
them hard, you know,
Yeah.
really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And Amy
But
says
that's why we also need more of, we do need more of those like second gens to come in
yeah.
and teach us, to teach them, because we're learning from you, but they're not really hearing it. And they need to hear more from you about how level of brain, because we're saying it, we'd sound maybe more kooky. But when you have somebody who says, I went through this, I lived this, I saw it, this was my life, hello,
hmm
that carries us so much different weight when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. Amy also says that the police commission needs a copy of Jamie's book. I could not
I
agree
agree.
more. I could not agree more. Lady Jane Out says, Audit LA can do anything. No hurdle is too big for
Oh,
her. Agreed. Agreed.
that's
Um,
sweet. Well, we'll have
Gen
to
X,
see though about if we can get the hospital, if we can get Kaiser,
oh
you
man,
know,
that's
we'll
gonna,
see if we can
guys.
cross that hurdle.
Let's all put it out in the universe. Let's manifest it right now that we're gonna get Kaiser to sponsor, you know, at least a 1-day event on, you know, Lafayette Way. There, we're gonna make it happen. And then I really think the next thing is we really do need an investigation into this name change and the
Yes.
legality of that, but also that it's a public street. We need that put on the record. And let's get these no parking signs taken down because it's public, baby. Let's go get your revenue, LA. What are you doing? You're losing millions of dollars. Go get
They
that
cannot
revenue.
prove to me. They have not been able to prove at all on any level. They're saying that the signs look legit and they're enforcing it because they came out to our, you know,
Yeah.
event and enforced that. And I'm like, but the city can't even prove it. She goes, well, that's above my pay grade. I can't handle
Yeah.
that now. So I get it. So that's another battle. The city cannot prove
Who
where
put those
that
signs
became no
there?
parking.
No.
And right, and and they're enforcing it. There's no red line up and down. And it's the
Nope.
only street in Los Angeles that's completely no parking. So that doesn't seem like that's
Yeah.
what LA does.
It doesn't make any. Yeah. Who in their right mind in that commission of, you know, the city is going to be like, oh, sure, we don't need any revenue from that particular street. Ugh. Like, give me a
They
break.
do, and
Yeah.
it's a conduit to three major hospitals.
Yes.
There's Kaiser, there's Presbyterian and Children's
Hmm.
Hospital, and a
Correct.
Metro that doesn't have its own
Yeah.
parking. Some metros have parking. This metro doesn't. It needs that extra parking.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Gen X Biatch says, I feel like people don't understand that Narcanon is tied to Scientology. Correct. And I'm going to be doing more dives on Narcanon because making that connection, that is also another huge front group, especially in California, that utilizes this sort of like religious group status, you know, drug rehab, which it's not. Please do not go there. Do not give them any money, to skirt around laws. And they've also faced a lot of let's say, controversy for multiple deaths that have happened across the nation at their various locations. So, yeah, no, absolutely. We need to do more on that. Let me get to the
Well,
questions
we
here.
discussed that yesterday too, because
Okay.
that's part of like number 11 with the Purif
Yes.
rundown. So we did touch on Narcanon because what I'm asking them to do as far as the city and county is concerned, I want to know, are they, because there's diversion, right? You're looking at a year in jail, whatever. Okay, well, we'll forego that sentence if you go through rehab because you have an addiction issue.
Right.
But if the city or the county is then saying, you can divert to treatment, and they are either promoting or paying Narcanon to be one of those treatment outlets, that's an issue.
Yeah.
And besides the fact that they don't
But
have, and they're not
Narcanon also has
registered.
other names. That's also part of the problem is they operate under multiple names. And when they get people in the jails, they're not operating as Narcanon, they're operating as Criminon, which
Crimenon,
was,
another
yeah,
one. We
this is
need,
another one.
and the LA Sheriff's Oversight Committee, which oversees the jail,
Yeah.
that's where we can hit those meetings. They have that in Zoom
Yeah.
as well and hit hard. That's what we need. Like I wish I could do it all every single last meeting. I try to do as many as I can. But if somebody would want to just say, okay, you know what, once a month or whatever, however they do, I'm going to hit the sheriff's oversight. I'm
Yeah.
going to really push the Crimenon and the Narcanon and wake them up and just
Yeah.
do it relentlessly for the next year and see, and then say, hey guys, I need backup. Can somebody send emails, or like if somebody could take that on, you could just take on one little element and be the cheerleader, be the go-to for that and become the expert in that. That'd be great. That would help out
Yeah.
so
No,
much.
absolutely. Absolutely. Gen X is asking me, did anyone address, or just asking, did anyone address the issue of the dude pushing up on Laura? Same guy that talked to me. We are going to be doing that live next. As soon as I'm done talking to Audit here, Laura and I are going to be live. It's coming up, so stay tuned. We'll have a little break because I'm a human. I have to go potty. And then we'll hit that live up. We'll answer that question. Can you tell us more about the Scientology hospice? So I wasn't able to go to that location when I was in Los Angeles, guys, because I blew into town and I blew out. I have to figure out a large chunk of time. I have to be able to set that aside financially and like logistically with my wife and our children. To like really take like a week down in LA, or at least like 3 or 4 days, so that I can go. I didn't even make it to Celebrity Center either, which I want to, or go to any of the Narcanon locations, which we need to, and things like that. So, this will be, I'm not going to put up a GoFundMe or something, but I'm going to try and block it out, and then I'll let you guys know. And then if you want, like, just like I went to LA, you can help me out again or not. We'll discuss, but I got to talk to my wife because like school's starting early this year, and we got one going off to college, and we have to like go to Colorado and back. So that's like, I'm going to be, I'm flying there and then driving back with my wife because she and girl child are taking a road trip, so it's like a whole, it's chaos when you have kids, guys. It's not like I can just leave and put my dogs, board them somewhere, and then just be like, I'm on an adventure, like
But we need you here, so I hope that
I'm trying,
happens.
I'll try and figure it out. But it's like, it's hard when it's 1,000 miles away. You know what I mean? It's not like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm going to take a day and just drive over to LA and then come back home at the end of the night. Like I can't.
yeah, that's kind of hard.
It's
But
hard. It's
but
harder when it's that far.
Laura did
Yeah.
take me to the hospice, and it was sad and
Yeah.
creepy. And Roxy just, she instinctive is like, she knew something was
Oh,
wrong. She was
sure.
like really like a search dog, it seemed like, not just usual, just sniffing, hey, how are you? It was like, she was
Yeah.
like on a, almost like a hunt. And then they were telling us about this guy with the, who played the bagpipes. Like they were really nice. The people, I don't think they realized they didn't have the same security out there because they're not
No.
expecting us there. So nobody came and swept them away.
Yeah.
You know, so they were talking to us about this man that died. He used to play the bagpipes,
Yeah.
and you know, and you know, but it was sad. But yeah, you just feel that there's something wrong there, and we need to focus on that. But I don't think it's a separate hospital, right? It's their own. It's Scientology, right? It's
It's
not
an
like a
apartment
separate
building that they
hospice.
own that they've just it's not a real hospice. Let's put it that way, guys. There are no nurses. There is no actual care being delivered there unless somebody is like really ill, they might pony up the money for in-home hospice, but highly doubtful. Most likely if somebody was, you know, needing that kind of care, they'd probably just drop them off at an emergency room somewhere and then just leave and like let the person, you know, just flounder
Disgusting.
in the fucking lobby and figure it out, you know. They don't care. They don't as soon as you are incapacitated in any way, shape, or form, you are garbage. Okay. Like when I first started in the elite space navy, the first major job I have was recruiter, which I fucking hated, but it also infuriated me because it required me to wear the fake space navy uniform, which for women at the time was polyester skirts like down to your knees, pantyhose, kitten heels, right, and you know, the tie and all that, and the jacket. That's fine, but the heels were like really not good for me. Like I'd never shocker, guys. I was never a super femme, and I was not good with heels. I had played a lot of sports, and I had folded both of my ankles playing basketball since I was 7, like at least 7 or 8 times on both sides. So my bones were already not great, and I ended up breaking my ankle in this kitten heel, and I didn't tell anybody because, you know, of course, that would make me a danger to myself and others. And my ankle was swelling and my toes, because my circulation was getting cut off and these things were like turning green. So finally somebody was like, you have to go to the doc. Like my mom saw me and she was like, I'm taking you to the doctor. So we went to the thing and they put me in a cast. So I show up the next day in my pants, just like regular clothes and a cast. And like, you would have thought that I grew a second head, right? Like that I was just a freak of nature. And I was basically told that I could not be the recruiter because this was bad publicity for the church for me to be in a cast. You can't, who's going to want to join when you're in a cast, right? Like you're just, you know, so they put me on like manual labor while I had a cast on, and then told me that if I didn't heal myself, you know, and get this cast off within 48 hours, that I was going to be, you know, excommunicated from the church. So I went home that night and I put my cast underwater and took an X-Acto knife and cut it off myself. Okay. And then proceeded to limp around, and I permanently damaged my foot after that. You know, for weeks while my ankle was huge, and just like putting bags of ice on myself under the table while, you know, so nobody could see and things like that. But it was like, you know, my foot and ankle have never fully healed from that. But that's what they do with people who are not able, who are in any way shape. I mean, and that was like, it wasn't like I was permanently disabled. This was just like, I mean, it's a little bit now, but like, you know, it's they don't care. It's all about what you bring to the table, how you make them better, and you must sacrifice everything about yourself to do that. So there's no humanity there, not even when you're old, not even when you've given your whole life. There's no humanity for you. So there's anytime somebody wants to come at me with like this much positivity about Scientology, like there is no positive experience. There is no religious experience. There is no benefit. There is no part of it that is there to help anybody. Okay. There's none. It was never designed that way by Lafayette. It's certainly not being continued that way by David Miscavige or anybody else holding a high rank. And these people, as you guys have laid out, you and Mona have laid out for this grand jury, you're laying out the crimes very succinctly and very exactly in accordance to the law, which is going to be super helpful, because this is what we need to do. The second that we go, well, you know, there's this one thing, like, no, There really
Mm-mm.
isn't. There really isn't. And if you have in your heart, anybody out there who's thinking, well, I felt this way, I got a benefit. This is the same. I had this argument with my mom for 10 years after she left Scientology. I had wins, I helped people. And I would, she credited Dianetics, the book, with getting her off of drugs, right? She was a heroin addict. She read Dianetics. The next day she quit heroin cold turkey. Right. She'd already kind of was like, now when I clarified this with her later, because that was like how she told me the story of my whole life. She's like, well, actually, I got really, really sick. I got hepatitis A and she was supposed to die. And when she didn't die, she was like, maybe I should get off drugs. Like she was already like, I should probably stop doing that. It's probably not helping me. Right. And then she came across Dianetics and she decided, and this is what we finally come to over 10 years of discussion. She decided that these revelations in this book validated what she was already thinking. Like, I got to get off drugs. It's harming me, everything about me. Right. And the thing that she actually got from reading Dianetics and then going to the Scientology Center was she got love bombed by a group of people who were like, you're our kind of freak, baby. Get in here and help us. And she was like, I have people now, like she was an outcast. She was a misfit. And then that's what happened. And it takes a long time to admit that you spent the majority. She was 19 when that happened, right? That she spent 50 years believing all of that, believing it wasn't her that got her off drugs, believing she didn't make that decision and save herself, that L. Ron Hubbard, Lafayette, that fucking guy saved her. And to come to that conclusion, I mean, it's happy because she's reclaiming herself, but it's also sad, because she sacrificed 50 years of her life for that belief, for that, purpose. And that's what these people are doing. Like, you have to get down to the nitty gritty of it, is that they have been lied to and they are repeating that lie to themselves every single day. That's a spell that's very hard to break. If we're going to look at this from
Yes.
like a magic perspective, because it's all a gigantic magic trick that's
It's
being done on these guys.
I
It's
agree.
awful.
And can I ask a question
Of
kind of
course.
along those lines? If you have a beautiful glass of fresh spring water, it's pure,
Mm,
it's crisp and clear,
yes.
and you add 1 drop of cyanide or some kind of poison to
Right.
it, and you drink it, okay, it's 99% pure and great, right? Supposedly, but you really
Yeah.
gonna drink it? Because that whatever you think you're getting from it, you're also getting something that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
So if people can who think that, okay, well, like if they really believe they got something good out of it, yeah, but you also drank the cyanide, and
Yeah.
so whatever the 99% water that you got isn't going to be nurturing. It's not going to help you. It's not going to be nourishing because that cyanide's in there and that's going to get you. And so
That's
that's
a
how I
great
kind of
analogy. That's
would
a great
address that.
analogy. Yeah. It's just literally people have to wake up to the fact that everything that they've done, achieved, believed, realized in the course of their Scientological journey, those are things they came up with themselves. No one else was
Yeah.
involved at all. L. Ron Hubbard didn't do it. David Miscavige didn't do it. Their course supervisor, their auditor, their brother, whoever. It's just you. You're doing it to yourself. And that's the saddest part. That's the hardest, part for people the hardest pill to swallow, is that all of it is them, and that's part of all of our journey out. We go through the phases. We point the fingers at a lot of people. And in the now times, we have to focus on this legal aspect, holding people
Yes.
accountable, right? Like Kendrick Moxon. And even people who have left still have to be held accountable for the things that they were in charge of, that they oversaw, that they did while a part of that group. Okay. Because the analogy that I make is people get on me a lot because I talk about things that Mike Rinder oversaw when he was alive and when he was a part of, Scientology, right? Not, not after. Okay. It's like he had two different lifetimes, right? He had his lifetime after he left, and he his lifetime literally since he was a young man forward. Okay. And that's the lifetime that, crimes were committed in. Okay. And everybody, I feel like I've lived 3 or 4 lifetimes, right? So you have to be accountable for all of your lifetimes when you are still here and when things are going on. And if we don't hold the criminals accountable, first of all, Lafayette is the number 1 criminal and he's no longer
Yes.
here, right? There's not going to be him in jail or him being held accountable in front of a court of law, right? David Miscavige is still here, right? And we can hold him accountable in a court of law. Many other people are still here, and some of them are outside now trying their best to do something that is, as Scientologists would say, make up the damage. But it doesn't erase what happened when they were there, right? And it would be the same way. It's like, oftentimes people use the Adolf example and things like that when we're talking about ways to help and things like that. And I think, it's not like Charles Manson. Let's take Charles Manson, right? Charles Manson went to jail. He's dead. And his followers went to jail and things like that. Now, if his followers, after being in jail, had formed a foundation to help the victims of the people that they murdered and hurt, people would be like, are you a fucking insane person? Like, who is asking you for help? Who's going to believe you're actually going to help? That's the way that people like me, right, who lived under the thumb of these people, feel about the people now who, yes, as you know them, they're doing good things, like Claire and Matt Pesh and Amy Scobie, right? Like in this lifetime, they're shiny, happy people. They're nice. In the Scientology lifetime that they lived, they were not. Right. So it's the similar thing, right? Where it's hard, there's no person who was born into this and escaped who's perfect, right? And people can say, oh, you're just being picky. You just want a perfect person. And I don't think there's a perfect human, period. None of us are perfect, right? However, I do think that, like, when I see people like you, for example, Audit, who are out here and doing stuff, like, obviously I don't know you your whole life. I don't know what happened to you in high school. If you were like a mean girl, if you were like, badass, whatever you were doing, I don't know, right? It doesn't matter
I was
to
in the
me.
band playing trumpet.
You
I
were in
was
the
like the
band.
lead
She was a
trumpet player.
band girl. That's right, man. She was
I
the
was the
marching
lead
band. Don't
trumpet.
mess.
I
That's
was a
why you're so
nerdy. I was kind of
persistent.
nerd,
You were
a
just a
band
nerd.
geek.
Okay, I love it. But what I'm saying is like, I know you this lifetime, and you weren't a part of any of these groups or anything, else like that. So it makes it easier for people like me and other cult recovery people to be like, yes, you're out here, you're championing our rights. And so it's like, we have to tell the whole story. We can't just tell the part that's fun. We can't just tell the part that is entertaining. Right. And that's, I'm going to swing it back to Jamie's book here. This is going to be, for those of you, like, buckle up, trigger warning. This is going to be, a completely raw, uncensored, unfiltered view of what an existence was like for children under Lafayette's purview in the 1970s. Okay. Before David Miscavige took over, before the raid happened, before Operation Snow White, what was going on and how fanatical and how just so dedicated parents are to this cause. This is how dangerous this cause is, what they will do in the name of this cause, even how much they neglect their children. Okay. Because this book is going to tell it in a way that's never, and I do mean never been told in this kind of detail. And that doesn't mean that, where did everybody go? What just happened?
The counter's still showing people.
I know. Hang on. I hear you. What just happened? There we go. That's back. Okay. My whole computer decided to like die. So, guys, we're talking too much truth right now. They're trying to shut us down. I'm going to give you, holy shit, that was crazy. Anyway, I'm going to give you the final word here on this next push. What is your ask of the people out there? What can they do to help or get things going in the right direction here?
Okay. But and real quick, so I wanted to say, like, with my analogy, I don't want anyone saying that, oh, I think that Scientology is 99%
I
good.
didn't think you were
No,
saying that.
it's 100. No, so it's 100% cyanide. It's just that when people think that something's good,
Yeah,
Scientology, there is nothing good. It's 100%
correct.
cyanide pill. But my ask is that just get involved. Just even if it's something, and just like go the next steps. Say if you're already sharing, maybe you'll see our videos or something and you'll share it to your platform. Do something else. Let's do one. Let's take one step further. Whether it's, maybe like, oh, I like to talk about the purists, and and that their saunas aren't being regulated. Well, let me look into that. I could do some research, and then I'll
Yeah,
send you guys what we learned. Or calling into a meeting, or if you're already calling in the meeting, I'm going to challenge everyone to try agenda items and just challenge
there we
yourself,
go.
and you'll have fun with it. And if they knock you out, they, like, don't get, it's okay. It's okay. It's still, I mean, I've been doing meetings, city meeting, not the city council and public works, but neighborhood council level for many years,
Yeah,
maybe 12 years. So yeah, I'm very comfortable with it. But you know what? You'll get comfortable with it too, because I just see the progress of, oh man, it's amazing how all the people are calling in, just their strength and their growth, and how they're doing way better than me, in my opinion. They're just doing amazing. Like Laura today, just like knocked it out. You knocked it out. And so it's just getting used to it, and enjoying it. And I also want to tell everyone that, yeah, this stuff is very dark. It's very hard, and it can be very emotional, and it can really weigh heavy on you. So you have to do some self-care. You have to, and it's okay to, like, I like to go
absolutely.
down there, right? And I like to have fun. I like to banter. I like to joke around. I joke around with the cops, and then we were talking about their calendar, what month. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to fight Scientology and slay these dragons, but still have your personality, to joke
Yeah,
around, to banter, to have good, enjoy life. It's okay to enjoy the process. It's because it's dark. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to go at a protest and sit back and, have a slice of pizza and a soda and just jam and listen to music or
exactly.
whatever we're doing. And it's all good. It's just because like, it's just the protest is itself. Just us being there is a protest. You don't even have, even if we just stood there and did nothing, that's a really, at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
just showing up.
And just showing up, even at the meeting, even if you want to go and just cross your arms and just look at them and say, like, and hey, listen to them, or what. It's all that's all part of it. Writing an email is a protest. Calling
Yes.
in, doing research, even if you don't want anything to do with the front line,
Helping with research
doing
is
research.
paramount because it's
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of stuff to go through, guys. We're talking 75 years of fucking nonsense that we need help with. That's a lot.
Yes, and I do, like, I'm trying to get, like, to tackle Substack now, and a bunch of, like, some of it is my own research, but I have other people who will send in. I don't know if they want me to name them or not, so I'm just not going to, on the safe side. But they'll send me stuff like, say, what's going on in Australia, and the
Yes.
historical stuff, and and I want to do more of that. And now that we have a little hiatus, I'm going to try to maybe put out some more smokestacks, Substacks, and and to get this information out there. So have any kind of research, and don't ever think, and whatever you do, just don't think that it's not important. Don't think, oh, I don't think this is, if you think it
Correct.
might be important, and you may not always get answers, because, like, sometimes we get a lot of information sent, and I try to always answer, even just with a quick thank you. I try to answer every comment, even if it's only a point where I can only hit because we're so busy. I try to acknowledge that you've reached out or you made some kind of step. And but if it doesn't happen, don't think that it wasn't important or that you're overlooked or anything like that. And it's okay to keep trying and keep pushing, because you all matter. You are all just as part of the, if you're in the back of the, like, in the, like, not in the front facing, whatever, you're just as important. You're just as
Absolutely.
valuable.
Absolutely.
And we all are doing this collectively, because, okay, I might be putting a Substack out in my name, but but that research may have come from somebody else.
Yes.
And and I'll be glad to, anyone that wants that credit, I would love to give credit, because I don't want to take all that credit. But some people, they said, I don't want to be known, I don't want my name used, I don't want to, I don't want to be fair gamed. And I
Yeah.
respect that. So, because we're at the point, right? We're all out here. We're just, it's already happening to us. We might as well just embrace it, you know. Right, Nora, right? Just have to embrace it. We're being fair game. It's
Let's
like,
do
hey,
it.
Osa,
It's
you
what's
know.
happening. Hi, Osa. I mean, here's the deal,
Hi.
and those tactics are not working.
Mm-mm.
The 1970s, cool cigarette stained operation manual is it's not vibing with 2025. We're not falling for it. We're not going to be a part of it. And your safe pointing is over. So like,
Yeah, it's over.
good
We
luck.
unplugging that.
Good luck.
Yep.
So
And I'm gonna
you
not to steal
messed
from
with the
streets, but
wrong
they look
ladies.
goofy. Yes. Yes. Yeah, they did. They messed with the wrong people because we just
Yeah.
don't care. It's, what are you going to do unless you like, because now too everyone has cameras, so they can't even get along away
Yeah.
with as much because like they went to my neighbors like showing me the ring, like everything, the whole, they had the whole interview, and because these people are like ridiculous. What is this is like silly, and they come with
Yeah.
nonsense like saying that I'm using illegal, like I'm illegally using the names of my neighbors to get permits and trying to scare them that I'm like, what? That's so stupid. And
It's
it's so
not even, I
easy
mean,
to
that's not even how it
disprove.
works. You know what I mean? It's
It's
not
so
even how it
dumb.
works. And they're so dumb. Like we just had a couple move in, in our neighborhood, and they have a small baby. And like my wife and I are like, listen, we're not having any more babies, but if you need time off, if you need like a, night, we'll babysit your baby, and our dogs look alike and stuff. So we made this whole thing. Like I make a point, because I would not doubt that Osa would try and like move somebody in to like infiltrate my life. Okay, you're going to infiltrate my life. I'm going to feed you and I'm going to love you in the Greek Irish way that I'm going to. And they're going to report back and be like, she's so nice. Like she made banana bread and brownies. It's so weird. Like her food is really good. Like what are we supposed to be finding out? Like,
Exactly. That's what you have to
okay,
do. I know, and not be scared. Just embrace it and just
yeah,
say, I know I get all these weird emails. I'm always, but hey,
always,
Osa, thank you for checking in today. Like have a
yeah,
great day, and that's all you can do because at the end of the day, we're still going to keep fighting
yeah,
until you are have no more IRS, till you have no more, you're not plugged into any city or any government. And if, and there's no more children, all these things, until everything's set straight,
yep,
people are going to be coming because we've set in a precedent now. It's not, like you said, we've now, because like it's not just going on Mike Wallace or
yeah,
or any of these things are going. We're going to the source. We're going, and we are
correct.
whoever you've safe pointed. They're listening to us too because they have no choice. We keep coming, and they have no choice but to hear it. So let's keep doing it.
All right, you guys, you heard it here. Audit's going to be out there every day. Get in it. Contact her. Call in. Write in. Protest. Whatever you feel like. Find some awesome article on the internet. Send it to us. We're gonna take
All
it
of
up.
it.
All right, we're gonna keep going.
Yep.
Thank you so much for being here, Audit. I
Thank
love you.
you.
Thank you
I
for
love you
everything
too.
you're doing. And guys, I'm gonna see you literally in 2 minutes, but also on the flippity dippity. Thank you, as always, to my mods for keeping this stream right and tight. Thank you for all of you viewing and the truth that we're constantly trying to bring out here on this channel. Please go see my other videos. Click that link for my link tree, and I'll see you next time on the Flippity Dip.